Well, welcome back. This is Mike Agnello, and I'll ask you this question. Do you know what time it is? Well, it's one I ask every time. And I'm going to tell you, I've gotten some great response from the broadcast the other day talking about this national database. I've had people that have contacted us and contacted Lisa, my wife. They have called the White House. They have called Shelley Moore Capito. We've got to stop this. This is horrible. Look it, I'm going to go through it again in a little bit about this national database, but also we're going to deal about Real ID, that thing being pushed now that lay dormant for 20 years. And now there's this big urgency to put that into place. And we're going to talk about that. I don't think it's very great. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But first of all, let me get on my phone. I want to read the Fourth Amendment. I know the Constitution's outdated and, it's on paper only. Sometimes I really believe that because our politicians certainly aren't watching it. And for sure, most of the courts aren't looking at the Constitution. They're making laws from the bench. But so are some of the politicians, not aware of what they're enacting. Does it comply with the Constitution? Let's read the Fourth Amendment together, okay? The right of people to be secure in their own persons, house, and papers. It's called the right of privacy. Your own papers, your own personal effects, your house. And it says, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by an oath of affirmation, and particularly, it says, describing the place to be searched and the person or thing to be seized. In other words, if you get a warrant to come after me to search my house or my things, you better be specific what you're looking for and where you're looking for it. Now, we know this has been obliterated, especially with President Trump. That's why I'm so shocked his administration is kind of behind these things. Nobody was abused more past the Constitution than President Trump. But let's go into this. First of all, this national database, it can have your medical records. That's personal. What happened to the laws that guard against that? Contributions. How about where you give your money, your church, or affiliations with organizations? How about your political affiliation? Not that it's a secret, but that's your personal choice. How about your career, what you do for a living? How about if you own a gun or not? Are you pro Second Amendment? Are you pro life? Everything about you that should be private under, now they should only be able to get that if there's an investigation against you, some probable cause worthy of an investigation. Then they could look into some of these things. But to have it on a national database where everybody's stuff is there for the government just to click a button or who knows who else and find out everything about you, this is 1984. I'm sorry, I'm not for any of it now. I try to keep my powder dry. I'm not. This national database is totally against the Fourth Amendment, and you must act. Listen to me. The beast system's being built. I know you think I'm getting squirrely. I'm telling you, in Revelation 13, it talks much about the beast, the Antichrist. I'm not calling Trump the Antichrist. Now just hold your horses. But the system's being built for the last 20, 30 years. This national surveillance, worldwide surveillance. China has been keeping records on you don't even know about. If you've ever bought things or went online, they've got all kind of information on you. Foreign administrations do. Now our own, look at how things were corrupted. I'm going to get into it in just a bit. Look at, and what about this? All this happened to Trump. What about the FBI, the CIA, the DOJ? They all corrupted themselves with this phony, fake Russian dossier that was put together by Hillary's group and went after the president. And look at all the trouble it caused. Unreasonable search and seizure. He's been a victim, and look at the whole system got corrupted because of political leanings. Now, I'm telling you, you better watch. The beast system's being built, and information is power, control over the populace, over all people. That's what the Antichrist will be all about. Knowing your comings and goings, what you buy, where you go, where you live. And the real ID, I think, is part of that now, too. It's awful. Look, this all happened in the atmosphere of 9/11. Remember all the sweeping legislation? We were all scared, let's be honest. When 9/11 hit, it changed our country forever. I told that to somebody the day after it happened on 9/12. I said, our country will never be the same again. She said, what do you mean? I said, you watch. Watch the laws, watch the things that happen. Nothing could be any truer than that statement on 9/12 that I made. Not that I was some great insight. A lot of people made that statement. Well, a lot of bad things happen. Good things happen, but a lot of bad things. A lot of overreach. What came out of that? Do you remember? Homeland Security. The centralization of all this power, and other things came out of this. Big Brother basically. FISA courts that were used against Trump. I mean, all this stuff happened because of the overreach and the reaction to 9/11. Now look, this could be more information on the real ID. What what could have on there? What if it morphs into biometric data on you? Your fingerprints, your retina has to be scanned. How about your vaccination reports? Oh, you don't think that's going to be on there? I guarantee you it will be. How about, if you're pro Second Amendment or pro life, your leanings, that could be all on the real ID. It's going to be a massive information pile. Look at this could be go to access to your new job if you're applying, healthcare, public spaces, having an ID. I've already heard reports that certain companies are going to have signs up that you can't even enter their place without a real ID. Oh, it's happening. Listen to me. It's happening. How about this? We all know it started 20 years ago. So why wasn't it been implemented? You ever thought about that? You know why? Because a lot of people had great qualms about it. A lot of governors, a lot of local authorities thought, I don't know. And this could really morph into more and more and more 1984, more government overreach. I'm sorry, excuse me. Look here's some quotes of some people that I think are some watchdogs. I may not agree with everything they've said, but they're pretty good watchdogs on civil liberties. Ron Paul, he calls Real ID, listen, one of the greatest threats to American civil liberties. That's a pretty strong statement. Tracking movements, activities. He's not for it at all. Representative Thomas Massie, a Republican out of Kentucky, has great concerns. Now, I know he's come against Trump many different times, but this is real. Sarah Palin, I like Sarah Palin. I know a lot of people made fun of her, but through the years, she's shown herself to be pretty astute. Well, listen, she says, why do we need an overreaching ID just to travel within our own borders? He says she feels like it's Big Brother. And this is all part of the Patriot Act out of 9/11. It had bad beginnings, to be honest. And again, 20 years, and it still hasn't really been implemented. Now all of a sudden, it's hurry up. T.J. Roberts, another Republican from Kentucky, said, repeal Real ID. That's what he said point blank. This needs to be repealed. In other words, just say no to this thing. Don't get your Real ID. We've got to stand up to this thing. We've got to call the White House. We've got to call Shelley Moore Capito. We got to call, Senator Justice. You got to make some noise on this one. This new database, national database, where all Americans are going to be in it, all their private information, and now this Real ID. Joe Alexander, Republican from New Hampshire, he said this is a violation of the 14th Amendment. Again, we have a constitution on paper only sometimes. Patrick Eddington from the Cato Institute. And I don't agree with everything from the Cato Institute, but I have followed them. When I was on talk radio, I've had them on my show many times, the Cato Institute. And they said something. It said, you know, and there was Patrick Eddington said he's not aware of one single incident of post 9/11 of a terrorist, right, being apprehended or successfully boarding a plane. So why is this an imperative for local travel? This real ID. It's going to become a national ID, and and again, it may prevent access to public spaces and healthcare and a myriad of other things. This is like communism, this national ID. Show me your papers, Really? You think I'm being over the top? I guarantee you I'm not. I'm a pretty careful guy. I do my research. When I was on the radio, I'll tell you, I did my homework. And when I came to the airways with a breaking story, I'd already done my homework and I'd already gotten names and dates and places. And I've done some research on this Real ID and the information it can contain and what if it can morph into. Oh, don't think it won't grow. It will grow, the information on it. It's overreach. It's part of the overreach of the Patriot Act. We're losing our freedoms. We're being tracked, all our movements, all our purchases, whatever we do, whatever we say, we're being tracked. Somewhere along the line, we got to say, stop. This is enough. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting the Real ID. And I want to stop this database. I don't want to be on it. I want to opt out. I don't know if you can. But you need to call the White House. Listen, you think, oh, we might. Yeah, you could do it. Look up the number. Google it. It'll come right up. Call them. Leave a message. Call up Shirley Moore Capito. Call up Senator Jim Justice. Tell them this Real ID troubles you. This national database is alarming at best. So, okay, there's your working assignments. But this is all part of the end days. I know it. I know I'm not going to stop it, but we can fight as Americans. We can still fight for our freedoms. And by the way, our Christian and religious freedoms are at stake, and don't think they're not. I've been for Trump for a lot of reasons. I'm not for this. I'm not for the national database. It is a blowing up of the Fourth Amendment and the 14th Amendment also with this Real ID and the Fourth Amendment. All this gathering of so much information. What, to get on a plane? To go, to fly to go see your mother? Somebody brought this in. What if a family member had a serious illness? You had to jump on a plane. Well, if I don't have the Real ID, I can't do it. This is ridiculous. Look, we've been relatively safe for 20 years. There's been no planes hijacked. And, I don't know. This is overreach. We're in a quandary, but I know it's part of the end days. So now I'm telling you, I hope you're ready to meet Jesus when he comes. He's coming. He's going to meet us in the air, according to 1 Thessalonians. I hope you're ready. I hope you're a born-again follower of Jesus Christ. That's the only safe place in the entire universe, to be a follower of Jesus. He's predicted all this. It's all happening in front of us. It's in our lifetime, and I'm watching it happen. But I hope you respond to the sacrifice of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. I hope you surrender, ask forgiveness, repent, and become a true follower of Jesus Christ. Not a social Christian. No. Not just go to church, feel good around other good people. Listen, I'm for church, but I hope you become an avid, radical follower of Jesus. So you'll know truth. You'll have discernment. You'll read your Bible. You'll pray for one another. You'll be a witness for him. That's what being a Christian is. I hope you get on fire for Christ. Anyway, pray for Elisa and I, and we'll be back. More to come on all this stuff. We've got to watch and pray, Luke 21 and 36. And you need to do that. More prayer, more prayer, more prayer. We'll see you again on Do You Know What Time It Is? This is Mike Agnello and Lisa Agnello. We're praying for you that God keep you and protect you. We'll see you next time on Do You Know What Time It Is?